when you saw
No,
yourself...
I argued for 30 years for this to happen.
Right.
And finally, I wore him down.
Hello, cinema enthusiasts. Harrison Ford. He is not just another star in Hollywood's glittering world. He is the last true craftsman, working with the precision of a master carpenter. In his world, there is no room for fakery, indiscipline, or ego. Ford doesn't yell. He simply banishes you from his professional universe forever with that piercing stare. Today, at 83, the legend breaks 50 years of silence and reveals the 5 names he despised for betraying his craft. Especially the final person on the list. When you hear how one of the most charismatic figures on Earth created a moral wreckage on Ford's set, and why the legend labeled him inhuman, your blood will run cold. Before we move on to the actors, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments. Enjoy! Number 1. Mel Gibson, the cold air of a moral abyss. At the very top of the list stands the man Ford described as someone whose talent I respect, but whose morality exiled him from my world, Mel Gibson. Gibson's personal scandals, bullying-level behavior on set, and shattered moral compass were Ford's ultimate red lines. Ford doesn't define professionalism only by memorized lines. He looks for it in a person's character. Over the years, dozens of offers tried to unite these two giants in the same film. From the Expendables franchise to massive-budget action movies, producers waved multi-million-dollar checks at Ford to star alongside Gibson. Ford rejected them without hesitation. This wasn't an ego battle, it was a battle of dignity. Ford could not stay silent in the face of Gibson's racist outbursts, rage-filled scandals, and undisciplined behavior. Breaking point. When asked in a producer meeting why he refused to work with Gibson, Ford's reply was cold enough to echo through film history. Talent does not give you the right to trample human dignity. Breathing the same air as Mel is an insult to the sanctity of this profession and to everyone who works on that set. I work with actors, not with machines of hate. That icy moment turned into permanent exile for Gibson. To Ford, Gibson was like an uncontrollable virus. Result: for Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson occupies the most forbidden spot on the list. Number 2. Brad Pitt, creative ruins between two titans. Second comes Brad Pitt, whom Ford saw as an illusion that confuses discipline with showmanship, craftsmanship with popularity. The 1997 set of The Devil's Own became one of Hollywood's greatest ego and vision wars. Pitt was the biggest star in the world at the time and wanted to impose his creative vision. Ford, meanwhile, believed he was the film's true anchor and authority. Pitt complained that the script increasingly glorified Ford's character. Ford saw it differently. He believed Pitt's role lacked depth and was being polished into nothing more than a poster boy. Ford arrived every morning ready to work, while Pitt treated the set like a social event, surrounded by crowds, distracted, unfocused in scenes. The contrast fueled Ford's quiet fury. Breaking point. When Pitt publicly called the movie one of the biggest mistakes in cinema history and a disaster, Ford's response was shorter and devastating. People who can't do their job find a script or a director to blame. Brad was only interested in himself, not in the soul of the character. Ford viewed Pitt's lack of concentration as an insult to professionalism. He wanted structure. Pitt chased emotional chaos. By the end of filming, their connection was completely severed. Result: Harrison Ford branded Brad Pitt as insufficient discipline and shallow star glow. From that day on, the two giants avoided even orbiting the same galaxy. Number 3. Josh Hartnett, 6 months of deadly silence. Third on the list is Josh Hartnett, who turned Ford's patience into torture on the Hollywood homicide set. It became one of Hollywood's strangest and quietest feuds. When the pair came together in 2003, studios expected box office magic from the veteran wolf and ambitious young gun dynamic. What actually happened was the collision of two different planets. Ford approached every scene like an engineering project, prepared down to the smallest detail. Hartnett arrived riding the wave of new stardom energy, living in the moment, viewing preparation as a burden. His mumbling delivery, forgotten lines, and improvised changes drove Ford mad. To Ford, a set is a machine in which every part must function perfectly. Hartnett was sand in the gears. For 6 months of shooting, they did not speak a single word whenever cameras stopped rolling. Breaking point. During rehearsal for a chase scene, Hartnett casually said, "We'll see. I'll just do whatever I feel in the moment." Ford slammed the monitor shut, marched over, and growled in the middle of the set. "Just stand where you're supposed to and do your job, you little punk." After that, they barely shared the same frame until the film's release, and even at premieres, security had to separate them. Number 4. Sean Young, the dangerous violation of boundaries. Fourth is Sean Young, whom Ford described as a symbol of chaos who confused character work with personal obsession. The 1982 Blade Runner set was among the darkest and most demanding in film history. Ford played Rick Deckard opposite Young's Rachel. Young was known for pursuing method acting, but using it in ways that unsettled those around her. Ford prized the sharp boundary between professional and personal life. He came to work, did the job, and went home. Young blurred that line. She carried her character's emotional dependence on Deckard into real life, invaded Ford's personal space, behaved coldly between takes, and at times showed excessive closeness that shattered his concentration. Breaking point. Tension peaked during the famous love scene, when the atmosphere on set froze solid. Cinematographer Jordan Cronenweth later admitted that Ford's look toward Young in that moment wasn't desire, it was endurance. Ford viewed her uncontrollable energy and her volatile dynamic with director Ridley Scott as an insult to professionalism. Result: years later, Ford told a friend, "Working with Sean was like walking blind through a minefield. I was there to work with an actress, not a ghost acting out her own drama on set." Number 5. Shia LaBeouf, the dagger in the legend's back. Fifth on the list is the man Ford once hoped to pass the torch to, but instead saw a stomp on it: Shia LaBeouf. It was 2008. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull marked a major return for the franchise. Ford, now an older Indiana Jones, was ready to mentor LaBeouf, who played his on-screen son. Every morning at 6 a.m., Ford arrived fully memorized, physically prepared, disciplined to the core. Across from him stood the chaotic face of a new generation, emotional, explosive, dismissive of structure. Ford tolerated LaBeouf's self-centered behavior, on-set noise, and lack of professionalism at first. The true betrayal came after the film's release. Breaking point. LaBeouf told the world's press the movie had failed, the script was bad, and Spielberg and Ford had disappointed expectations. When Ford heard those remarks, his legendary patience turned into glacial fury. Result: to Ford, LaBeouf wasn't just undisciplined, he was untrustworthy. From that day forward, Shia's name was never spoken in any room Ford occupied. At 83, Harrison Ford teaches us this: cinema is not a democracy. It is a craft built on vision, discipline, and above all, respect for human beings. LaBeouf's ingratitude, Young's obsession, Hartnett's emptiness, Pitt's ego, and Gibson's moral collapse. Ford placed every one of these names on his blacklist because inside the frame, he never tolerated lies, fakery, or disrespect. What do you think? Is Harrison Ford's uncompromising stance stubbornness, or the last line of defense protecting cinema itself? Was the final name on the list justified? Let's meet in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. See you in the next legendary showdown.